like to get started. Everybody getting comfortable? My name is Jules Auger, and I've been asked to kick off the afternoon, this celebration of John's life. I'm happy to do that. I want to just say that we're here to remember and celebrate the life of our dear John Lesser, and to give thanks not only for his life, but to give thanks for all the good memories he left us with. John wanted his friends to have a party to celebrate his life, so that's the order of the day, folks, a party. John brought a lot of joy to each of us, and we're grateful in so many ways. We have so much to celebrate in our experience of John. But it's also important for us to pay attention to those feelings that are sad and hard about this afternoon, because there are many in this room that are still grieving his loss, and we need to pay attention to those feelings also. Feelings like that need expression, so there's lots of stories, lots of feelings, both positive, and I would say even the sad feelings are positive, because John's not with us anymore, and that's one of the hard things about this kind of a celebration. But we're here to remember and celebrate, so let's that be the order of the day. I'm going to read something that Mary has written about John's life, just to set a context for this afternoon. John Lesser was born on February 5th in 1946 in Dublin, Ireland. He was adopted at the age of 4.5 by an American family stationed in England. His journey to America with his new family started on the Queen Mary. I read that and I thought, wow, this guy has class. One of his first memories was of his mom, Muriel, holding him up to see the Statue of Liberty. And that's an amazing first memory, and I relate to that just because my dad came from France, and he remembers the ship he was on kind of tipping over when everybody ran out to see the Statue of Liberty, and how excited they all were. John was raised in New Plymouth, Idaho by his mom, and where he was surrounded by loving aunts, uncles, and cousins. He moved to Portland to finish high school at Grant High School, and then went on to Portland State University, where he majored in business. While in high school, John worked at Lippman's department store and was in the Naval Reserve. After college, he spent 2 years in the Philippines, stationed in the Navy, stationed in the Philippines. He came home to Portland and continued his career in retail at Lippman's department store. And after 2 years, he joined the Fred Meyer team, where he stayed until retiring in 2000. Get the pages here. We didn't expect to be holding microphones. So. In 1972, John married Mary. Laurie joined the family in 1978. 4 years later, Scott arrived on John's birthday, February 5th. Laurie married Troy McKenzie in 1996. 10 years later came Maggie, the first grandchild. Mason arrived 4 years later. Scott married Mackenzie in 2010. Sydney was born in 2013. John loved his son-in-law Troy and daughter-in-law Mackenzie, and was very proud of them. When Maggie, Mason, and Sydney joined the family, it gave John his best ever job title, Grandpa. John and Mary started their married life in Portland, but moved to West Lynn to raise their family. Lifetime friends here today. Those days were filled with fabulous times raising our kids on Bronco Court. John's love of golf brought him to Willamette Valley Country Club in 1998. And after patiently waiting, John and Mary eventually found and moved into the home John dreamed of on the tee box on hole number 2. Truly his happy place. John was surrounded by friends and family in his last months and weeks, even if COVID forced it to be sometimes just a wave. He was able to take his golf cart to meet the guys on the back nine on his good days. John lived a happy, grateful life, always with a smile. That's the end of Mary's comments, but I want to make a few of my own. If I can get my iPad to work again, be all set. There we go. Carol and I met John and Mary when we moved to Oregon in 1989, and we had the good fortune to buy a house on Bronco Court, right next to the Lessers. And for our neighbor, John and Mary were great neighbors, and here we were from the East Coast, not at all familiar with the Northwest, and we were even Democrats. Oh my goodness! But John was always available to us, and John and Mary were such good neighbors, and they soon became fast friends. We had a great group of people with the Bacons and the Lessers on that end of the street, and I have lots of good memories from that time. And I was always struck by, as I thought about John, his cheerful demeanor, his smile, and his easy way with things. Always civil in his comments, always inquiring, always gentle in his approach. And those are the qualities that I remember well about John as I think about him as a friend. So we lived side by side, we played together, we worked on our yards together, but Carol and I felt accepted and even loved in that process. And now sadly for us, John has left this life, and we only have memories of him to share, but those memories are really important because the memories we have are like gifts. They're really to be treasured and to be held and to be shared sometimes and to be held and known about. And I think it's interesting that we have this celebration of John's life in this very dark time of the year, the shortest days of the year. Some people call this time the season of darkness even. And it's interesting to me because for eons, human beings have somehow found a light to celebrate at this time of the year. You know, the Christian church found Jesus. I mean, they adopted the winter solstice in the stories about Jesus, but he represents in the Christian tradition the light of the world. Our Jewish friends have Hanukkah, and they celebrate how one candle one day lasted 8 days and saved the day. And many of the major religious traditions have festivals of different sorts to celebrate light. But I think for us common people, we look for the light in our midst. We look for the people that somehow when they arrive, the room gets lighter. To my mind, John was one of those. His smile lit up the room all the time. Whether it was outside or whether it was inside, his smile was a gentle thing of the day. And I think that to me, John was a beacon of light in my life. And that's what I really want to take away from this or want to share with you. And one of my prayerful wishes now, and my fantasies about John, is that his smile is still bright, and that somewhere in God's heaven he's lighting up a corner of that with his smile. So, thank you very much.
You got this, Mary. Okay.
Know your audience.
All right. I am one lucky person. Can you hear me okay? All right. I'm just a very lucky girl. I'm gonna not cry. I'm just gonna do this. Dad's been gone for 1.5 years, and the mere thought of him brings tears to my eyes, and I wouldn't want it any other way because clearly he was somebody very special. Dad loved to laugh. He loved to laugh so much. I think that's why he had to go when he did. Because of COVID, I did not get to do my sex ed week. And that is one of our favorite weeks. I would say, Mom, Dad, it's sex education week at Gardner. They're like, okay, come over Friday. We'll get a glass of wine and we'll all, like, what are the best questions that kids ask? Oh my gosh. So some of them are, so Miss Mackenzie, what exactly is an orgasm? Okay, well, so then I go into talking about an erect penis and all that stuff, and then I get it. No, Miss Mackenzie, I get how it works for a boy. I want to know about the girl. Okay. If you'd like to know the answer to that question, talk to me after, after this. Some of our other favorite ones are, so Miss Mackenzie, if a kid is artificially inseminated, does it mean the kid is artificial? No. Or, if I'm gay, do I still have to go through puberty? Yeah, you do. Oh my gosh. So I feel like, and I can answer those questions with 6th graders in a classroom. That is perfect. But what I cannot do is do that over Zoom, because I do not know what younger sibling or what grandmother or mother or father or whoever is on the other side of that screen. So I did not get to do that when my dad was suffering from illness. I think he knew that we were not going to have that laugh, so maybe that's why he decided to go when he did. My dad taught me a lot of wonderful things that will stick with me forever. One of them is work ethic, and he loved working for Fred Meyer. When I was growing up, though, he wanted to move up in the company, and I think he felt like he needed to do that with being a good speaker. So he took a class, and he took it at night. And I remember thinking as a kid, why would you go to school at night? Like, why does somebody do that? And he explained to me, well, he wanted to get better, and he needed to practice his speaking. And he did. He would speak in front of the mirror and practice. And I just enjoyed watching him learn and grow. He also would work lots of hours. Not enough that he was away from the family when we needed him, but he would work on Saturdays. I thought this was very strange. Why would you work on Saturdays? That's when you watch cartoons. But, and I asked my dad, so why, you don't get paid? Do you get paid to work on Saturdays? He was obviously salary, and he's like, no. But he talked to me about what hopefully a good career would be, something that you're passionate about, something that you want to be better at. And that was what my dad was. He was very passionate about his job. I have probably learned that the most. I feel like he instilled in that and maybe that's probably why I read How to Be a Better Teacher during my summer vacations. I had a friend, a daughter of a friend, say, "Why does your mom read books about math on summer break when she's by the pool?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." The other thing that my dad showed me was exercise and how important that is. And my dad, I don't know if you know this, but my dad, when I was growing up, every morning at 5 a.m., he would go downstairs and do his exercises. Now, he did not have exercise equipment. He would do like army calisthenics. It was, it was his thing, but he would do this religiously. We all can start an exercise program, but my dad did it day in, day out, all the time. He would record something like Golden Girls or something, and he would be watching that. If we, in the summer, we would sometimes fall asleep on the couch, and sometimes I would wake up in the morning and my dad doing jumping jacks and laughing at, Golden Girls. Later on, he wanted to learn to golf, and so he set up a net in the backyard, and after his exercises, he would go and hit, swish, hit, swish, like 100 times, at like 5:30 in the morning, every single morning. I think my dad had a growth mindset before that was really even a term. My dad didn't come from money, but he went out and learned about money, and he learned how to handle money. And I appreciate that. I remember distinctly, frequently, my dad would have this leather ledger, and he would fill it out every month. And one time I was asking him, what are all those numbers for? And he's like, well, this is how we keep track of the money. And then he'd point out, now see, this number right here, your mom wanted to go out and buy a couch. But I convinced her that we should invest it, and so you can see over the period of time, the money is doubled now, and you and Scott would have ruined that couch in just a matter of months. Okay, all right, that's good. All of his money savvy trickled down to our children. Quite often there's little grandpa tidbits that come into play at our house, and we talk about money quite frequently. It's those short conversations that I probably cherish the most, remembering those. It's funny how the most random thoughts surface after you lose someone. I was Mason's age, and my parents took me to a Chinese restaurant. And after the dinner, I picked out the fortune cookie, and I opened it up, and it said, Lori, come to the bathroom. Signed, God. And so I started to get up because I was going to go to the bathroom because God told me to go to the bathroom. And then I look at my dad, and he is trying to keep it straight face, and then he just totally cracked. And I'm like, oh, Dad! Oh my word. So one of my favorite movies was Dear God, Book 2. And George Burns plays God, and it's this movie. I was obsessed with this movie. This little girl, and she gets a similar fortune cookie, and she opens it up, and she goes into the restroom area and finds George Burns there, who's playing God, and he tells her to spread kindness and save the world, and I just love this movie. So anyway, my dad somehow found a way to put that message in the fortune cookie. Another random thought I remembered was watching my dad, and we were watching 60 Minutes. It was a story about Madonna and her famous song, Like a Virgin. So we're watching the segment. I probably was 9 at the time. And it's done, and I say, so, Dad, what is a virgin? He explains it. So I'm a virgin. Yep. And Mom is definitely not a virgin. This is a story, or this is a picture of my dad at the hospital a little bit before he died. Look at his hair. Please look at his hair. He was very proud of this hair. He loved his hair. He talked about his hair. I'm pretty sure he had a really good head of hair because the opposite part of his body was a freaking disaster. Oh my God. So my dad had polio as a kid, and if any of you had the very misfortune of seeing my dad's toes, oh, I'm so sorry, you cannot unsee that. It was like this gnarled foot fungus mess of a foot. So that's why somebody was looking out for him and gave him a really good head of hair. I'm pretty sure that if a side effect of COVID was to have toes like my dad's, everyone would be vaccinated. We did a lot of family time on Zoom, and because of COVID, this is a picture of my parents. Aren't they cute? This is where I normally cry when I'm reading this, but they are pretty adorable. The love that they had for each other was really hard to miss. I was contacted by their lawyer. My dad had an unfortunate knee replacement situation, but the lawyer recently texted my mom and said, "I took this case because I liked you both immediately. In all of my meetings with you and John, it was crystal clear you were a loving team. He knew you were at his side, and his recovery and perseverance were in large part due to his loving partner." My dad loved my mom. Every fiber of his soul. And they were always a team. He would always stick up for her. Always. Which is pretty annoying when you're a bratty teenager. It's pretty sweet. I remember him reading Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. If you haven't read that book, you really should. But that wasn't the sweetest part. The sweetest part was he ripped out the page that's talked about 100 ways to score points with a woman. And he kept it in his wallet. I will be sending copies out. It's really good, actually. One last thing I would like to say is how proud he would have been for the people in this room. His friends who showed up to help around the house, to offer emotional support, and many great laughs. He loved this club and the people that he met here, and this was his happy place. Dad was so proud of his grandkids. Sydney, Grandpa would have loved to see you and Alice play Alice and Alice in Wonderland. Mason, I don't know if you know where Mason is. Hi, Mason. Grandpa would have been so proud of you for baseball and your new love of the water ski team and all of your effort at school. Maggie, Grandpa would have been so proud of you. Not only Peter Pan, but like just you becoming an independent young woman. He would have loved to see you grow up. Dad would have loved to see. He would have been so impressed with all you had done last year and a half. He would have been beaming in pride how you got up the courage to get your knee replaced. especially knowing that you would have to come home to nurse Ratchet. I know he wants you to keep traveling and keep living. I really miss when my life is all crazy and funny things happen. I miss telling him things because he just had such a really good laugh, and he always wanted to know what was going on. Sometimes my days are crazy. I remember during the Zoom era, it was a crazy afternoon, and I got caught teaching my students Zoom while going through the McDonald's drive-thru. And after the ordeal was done, it was like, oh, I cannot wait to go home and tell my parents this story. And he wasn't around then, so that was hard. There was a day when I was working out, and I could wear those clear, I don't know, face shields, I guess, and I decorated mine. And I walked into the gym, and somebody had said, "Oh, that's commenting about my face shield." And I said, "Well, it comes in handy because my husband reads lips." And then the person said, "Oh, is he deaf?" And with a straight face, I just said, "No, he's a gynecologist," and I just kept Clearly, I get my sense of humor from my dad. All right, one last thing. A few months after my dad passed away, it's strange how different things happen. And there was a trainer I was working out, and there was a trainer. I had never seen this trainer before, and I've never seen him since. But he played a song while we were working out, and it was like my dad was speaking to me, like to my soul. So I will leave that. We will listen to the song, and that will end my thoughts about my dad. Thank you for coming.